Well, hey, ladies and gentlemen, and I'm going to share a few tips and tricks I have, which are very few, but I think y'all might like this one. This is the one we're dealing with on exhaust. I haven't had much luck with the exhaust gaskets, the gasket material, and went looking, see if there was an alternative, and I found this stuff here. It's got it on Amazon. I'm gonna send a link to it. This sheet is like $7 or $8, I'm not sure. Universal gasket paper, 2100 degrees Fahrenheit. What it is, it's ceramic. So, and this is what I've been doing with it. And even when I rode it up the top of the bridge, and I've got about 2 more hours of break-in on it. There's a video coming on that pretty soon. It has not failed. This is what it looks like. And it's super easy to make this. You can see it's kind of like a fiberglass, but it's ceramic. Let me get this out of the way here. And what I've been doing is taking max torque, some of the older tubes I got. You know how we're just gonna cut in it right there. We're gonna cut to the chase or cut to the tube. We're gonna cut, and by the way, this is parchment paper, is what this is. And it's probably in your kitchen right now. So very inexpensive here. Let me get this hole ripped because we need a bunch of it, and I'm gonna show you why. And for this project, you're going to need some clamps or some real heavy bricks and a couple of boards. So everybody's got an old tube of this stuff laying around. It's hard to get out of. I've got plenty old tubes of this stuff. And what is that one? And after it's done, I just leave the parchment paper on it, and it helps you draw out what design you want. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna take my 2 really nasty boards I have here, just old boards. I'm gonna put it on that. We're gonna put this on this. Looking pretty easy right now, isn't it? And it is. That's one of the good parts. Getting it clamped, it might be a little difficult. And I'm doing this live for the home audience, so to speak. This is not rehearsed. My table too. Damn. And like I said, you use heavy bricks, pieces of steel, whatever. The parchment paper is so it doesn't stick to whatever you're using to clamp it with. Like I said, I leave the parchment paper on it when I make the gasket, and so far so good. And I'm gonna leave a link to Amazon. And like I said, that sheet right there, it's a, I forget how big it is. I got that, yeah. And what I'm thinking, and I don't know this for certain, but clamping it like this and letting it set up, it pushes that silicone all through it. So when I cut it, you could see it went all the way through the ceramic. And I cut a gasket out, I put it on there. It has been fantastic. So that's tip number one. Like I said, I'll leave a link. And this is from Lynn Manufacturing Company. Universal gasket paper product is a high temperature gasket paper rated to 2100 degrees. Soft, pliable material used to cut your own gasket. I think this would probably work on its own, but it's kind of like the first little leak that you would have, it would kind of blow the fibers out. So let's come back to this tomorrow morning. How's that sound? Okay, and I will say it, it is 12 hours later. Last time I waited 24, so this might be wet, I don't know. So hopefully it's dry, but if it isn't, then you'll get the idea, because I do know in 24 hours it dries. Don't try to peel the parchment paper off, it's not coming off. It's not wet, and that's what it looks like. And the reason, we'll leave that right there. If you're doing an irregular exhaust gasket, so to speak, like for a Minarelli like this, the parchment paper marks very well. So this hole, I'll use a hole punch, but the outside, I'm gonna go ahead. And if you've ever been messing with some of the other gasket material and you bend it and it breaks, you can bend this. It's not gonna break. Like I said, that's one of the previous, that's the one I did for the LD90, and yeah. Yeah, it's nice and dry. lot of time with other gasket materials, this would break. That's not going to break. One Minarelli gasket. 2100 degrees, the silicone itself, the max torque's good for around 550 to 700. So it has been beautiful on the LD90, I mean not LD90, Dominator 85. So we're gonna do some more runs on that, test it out some more. Let's move on to the next exhaust hack. Exhaust hack number 2. This one was inspired by a conversation on Jared D's YouTube channel. He goes live Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday. If you have questions about your motorized bike, there's always people on there that's knowledgeable enough to answer your question and have a laugh or two. So go check him out. But the question came up. I've got thousands of dollars worth of welding equipment in here. If you look back on the videos, aluminum, stainless, it doesn't matter. Not everybody's blessed with that. Not everybody wants to commit that kind of money. So, but you do have leaks, you do have cracks in the exhaust, and how can you fix them? Okay, we have the $100 version or answer right here. This is oxygen and this is MAP gas, and this is like almost practically a little brazing rig, which it is a little brazing rig. And if that's a little too much, then you're gonna get into it for $50 on this one. So and these things are a bear to light, and it takes a little practice to get them to light. But I think we can handle it. Now we got 2 rods here. You got your basic brass brazing rod, and then one I like to use. This is by Brenzomatic brazing rods, welding, nickel silver. They actually do good. We're going to test both of them right now with both torches. Now, this ain't perfectly clean. This is a little heavy right here. We got irregular gap, but you want to get it as clean as possible. And cleanliness is everything. But getting on the inside, get you a product like Super Clean, rinse it out, flush it out with that. That'll take care of that. So what we're going to do now, we're going to go with this one first. This is a $100 option. Getting it lit. And getting it going, and that's a new tank of oxygen on there. And about to forget the most important thing here. Always have your PPE on. I've got safety glasses on, which I wear them permanently. Getting this lit is a bit of a bear. So you want the flame something like that right there, and then you're gonna start cracking your, I'm hitting the valve on this one. This is live for the home audience, guys. Give me a break. I'm not really used to that thing. I weld them up. All right. And that's a little too much of a wholesome flame there. We're going to start cracking the oxygen. valve turns way out. It was right there. You don't want a flame like that. We're gonna go with the brass first. And these new tanks, they require some adjusting. You're going to want to get some of the flux on there. That's the coating on the rod. And you'll just start, once you get it puddled up like that, you'll just start easing into it. Okay, that's the brass. Get some of the flux down there when you get that metal hot like that. This melts at a little lower temperature, which is more suited for the other one. This will melt at a lower temperature than the brass. So this is a $50 option, and we are going to tackle that right there. And we're going to do it with both rods. It's going to take longer. Once you see your metal starting to heat up, get some of that flux on it. It will do it, but I prefer this rod here. The other torch does better, naturally, because the flame is hotter, more concentrated. But you can do it with that one. So that's it. If you have to repair a hole, fix a crack, something like that, you don't have access to a welder, this is the minimum right here at $50, because they make another one that's a little one. It won't do it. It doesn't produce enough heat. This pulls a lot of air in with it, which is oxygen. That has pure oxygen with it, which makes it work better. This pulls a lot of oxygen with it, with the gas, and it gives it a lot more oomph. So that's it, boys and girls. I hope this helps. I hope the gasket hack and the exhaust hack, I hope all that helps. And ride safe. Please hit like and subscribe. We're gonna be doing some more of this, and like I said, I'm gonna get out there on the this thing heated up, didn't it? On the Dominator 85, which is running absolutely beautiful. I fattened it up on the bridge run up and down really fat because I wanted a lot of oil and gas going in there, going up. So because it's a new motor, new rings and everything, just had to put it to the test, and it did well. So y'all ride safe. Please leave a comment. Y'all have a good day.